Hello, welcome to ECE 105, Curriculum Development. I'd like to tell you just a few things about this course before we get started. First of all, my name is Shani Snell. I'll be your instructor for the course. This course will be offered in a flipped format. I'm very happy you're here. Our course will last for 4 weeks, and in the flip format, instead of having a weekly live lecture, you will instead be watching a weekly recording of a lecture. I hope this frees up your time a little more so that you can work college around your schedule, which is the whole point of online learning, is the flexibility. My office hours at CCC are every Tuesday from 9:30 to 5 o'clock. You're welcome to come on site if you need any help. Also, my online hours are from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. So please email me, call me, text me, Facebook me if you have any questions. I'll get back to you most of the time within about 3 hours. Email is my preferred method of communication. The reason being, you can leave which course you're in, which assignment you're having problems with, and that will give me a moment to do a little research to give you the best answer. Our discussion boards each week will be Wednesday night. You'll need to have your first post done, your initial post, and then you'll need to respond to 2 classmates by Sunday night. We'll have 2 discussion boards each week, and this will pretty much remain the same throughout most of our ECE courses. I like to keep my courses consistent so that you know exactly what to expect. Our quizzes also are due each Sunday by midnight. You have unlimited attempts to take the quizzes. I don't want you to think of this as cheating. I want you to think of it as you're learning each time you take the quiz, you're mastering more of the questions, and memorizing these facts even better each time you take it. So the idea is teaching to mastery. I want you to really understand the content. Before we get into this week's chapter, I always like to begin a course with the end in mind. So let's talk briefly about the final project. For ECE 105, you'll be doing a Learning Center curriculum planning project. It basically has 4 components, and each of these we will be discussing each week through our chapters and through our assignments. So we're going to start off with just the basics, but please know that as each week goes by, you will understand each of these concepts better, and it will make a little more sense by the time you're down to our final week and putting this project together. I always like for you to start ahead of time if you can. The first thing you'll develop is a schedule for a full day child care program. Now you get to choose what age group. It might be infant, toddlers, 2s, 3s, or preschool. It's up to you to choose your age. You want to provide the daily schedule for that classroom. So the basic schedule of what happens throughout the day, beginning with drop-off time and the things that you do to get children ready for the day, including lunch and including pickup at the end of the day. So you're going to have a time format of what's happening in your classroom throughout the day. If you look in Chapter 8, Figure 8.1 and 8.2 in the Intro to ECE textbooks, you'll see example schedules that you can look at and design your own around as well. Second, you're going to create an activity web. Webbing is a great way of planning for activities or for concepts. So you're going to be doing one of each. In number 2 on the activity web, you're going to choose an activity. For instance, the seasons might be at the center of your page, the seasons, and you're going to come up with 20 activities that you could do that deal with the seasons. I hope that kind of makes sense. It's almost like brainstorming. Now, some students will submit an activity or concept web in written form. You're welcome to draw your web on a piece of paper, and of course there's examples in your textbook to look at. You're welcome to draw it out by hand, take a picture of it, and then upload this picture into a PowerPoint or Word document so that I can see your web that you've created. So if you'll picture the seasons being written in the middle, and then webs going out or lines going out from your center activity with 12 different activities around that main topic, that'll kind of give you an idea. It kind of looks like a spider web. Next, you'll build number 3, a concept web, which is a little different from an activity web. So again, if we work with the seasons as our topic, you're going to come up with 7 concepts that support the reason why that concept is developmentally appropriate. So here's an idea you might have. So let's start with the seasons at the center again of our concept web. And what's a concept you could teach about seasons? Well, you might go into the name of the seasons would be one concept. Summer, fall, winter, and spring. You could talk about each of those. You could also talk about the weather during these seasons, so that would be a concept. Just to give you a few ideas of the different concepts you could develop using that central theme. And number 4, you're also going to create a weekly lesson plan. So if we go back to number 1 and we choose again the same age group that you created your full day child care program schedule for, let's use that same age group. This time you're going to come up with a weekly lesson plan. So write up a 5-day lesson plan using your choice of a lesson plan template. There are many on the internet. You could also create one of your own if you wanted to. If you work at a daycare center or developmental center, you may already use some type of a standard lesson plan template. You're welcome to use that as well. This lesson plan must be an original piece of work, so I do not want you using a pre-made lesson plan off the internet. This is one that I want you to create on your own. It must include some use of your weekly objectives, whether detailed or minimal. So what are you going to achieve this week with the children? Use your activity and concept web that you created in number 2 and number 3 to help your topics along. And in addition to other resources, you might use textbooks, online sources, or even teachers as a resource. Maybe you know someone that's an ECE teacher. So you get the basic idea. You're going to have 4 components to your Learning Center curriculum plan: your schedule, the activity web, the concept web, and a weekly lesson plan. Okay, so each week we'll be going over this a little bit more and give you an idea of what's expected. Okay, next let's go on to our student question of the week. Do I need to take my courses in a certain order? The answer is yes, if at all possible. Our courses are offered on a rotational basis. So basically we have 8 courses that are offered in order, starting with ECE 101, Introduction to ECE, and ending with ECE 115. However, you do not have to take them in a particular order. So let's say you started the program and we were in ECE 105 instead as your first course. That's just fine. You're welcome to start there. But we want to keep you in the rotational order. So the next class you would take would be ECE 107, 109, 111, and that way we can keep you with the other EC students in a group, because I would rather keep you in a course with other students, right? Okay, Chapter 8, Scheduling and Curriculum Planning. Let's go over just a little bit of Chapter 8, the main points. since we are talking about curriculum planning in our course, take just a moment to think about an early childhood program that you know. Maybe you went to a program as a child, or maybe one of your children go to one. Think about all the activities that they do during the day. Maybe there's a list on the wall. Maybe they sent home a newsletter to you when you first started in the program that told you what all they're going to do each day. Okay, so just take a moment to think about some of the things, some of the activities that go through each day. We want to kind of visualize what your program's going to be like. Okay, these may be some of the activities you thought about. You're probably going to have some type of activity time, large group time, small group time, which we prefer, outdoor activities or indoor activities. You may be going back and forth. You'll also need to include cleanup because this is an important learning process. You'll have meals or maybe snacks through the day, nap or rest time, and then you may have transitional periods as well. So these are some of the activities a child in your program might go through. The order that they're in is up to you, and sometimes it takes a little trial and error to decide what order they should be in or what order it works best with this group of children. Some of the guidelines for program scheduling. This is really important. You want to alternate active and quiet times. Of course, you wouldn't want to have a great big active period going outside, running around. You wouldn't necessarily want that right before nap time because they're going to be still all keyed up. So we want to put them in an order that makes sense. Those big active times might be when they first get there in the morning and they're needing to wake up, or maybe after nap time so that they can get a little energy out before they go home. You want to balance child-initiated activities and teacher-initiated activities. We don't want to just tell them what to do throughout the course of the day. Be aware of activity levels, ages, and developmental levels of the children. Be aware of the size of the group and the program times. And think about seasonal considerations. Is the weather okay for us to be outside today? You may have to take a look ahead. What differences might you need to consider when planning a schedule for infants and toddlers? Well, of course, infants are going to lay around a little bit more. They're not going to be able to move around as much as our busy toddlers are. What differences might you need to consider when planning a schedule for school-age children? Well, of course, they're going to be a lot more structured in what they're doing, and also a lot more academically inclined in what they're doing through the day. Okay, what is curriculum? Children's development curriculum should basically be specific to the age of the child as well as the background of the child. We talk about how we do not all develop at the same rate. So we want to consider the curriculum. We also want to consider the culture in our area. We want our activities to be very relevant to their families, to their community, so that they feel like what they're learning is very much like what they're experiencing as well. And lastly, the types of curriculum. We basically deal with two basic types, thematic and emergent. Thematic might be a weekly or monthly theme, such as family, animals, careers, colors. An emergent curriculum is more of a project approach. We go more in depth with the projects. It's child-centered, very artistic, and very creative. And we see this growing more and more in our early childhood centers. So please be familiar with these terms, thematic and emergent. Okay, and lastly, if you have any questions, please email me. You could also text me, send me a phone message, send me a Facebook message. If you have any questions, please get in touch with me and have a great week.